On this episode of the BD Footy Wrap Up, the first one since the long hiatus, we've had the AFL finals now set. We talk about an NRL club that's taking the league by storm, an attendance record broken by the AFL, and also some controversy that came out of the game today between Carlton and St Kilda. Well, not controversy, but cruel beings, really. So that's all it's going to be talked about today. Hey guys, welcome to another YouTube video, and welcome back to the BD Footy Wrap Up. It's been, I said back in, back in May or June that I would go on a bit of a hiatus with it because of the bye rounds, and then obviously with the Paris Olympics. Now with that all over, I'm back into it again just in time for finals. I was gonna do this comeback about a week ago, but I kind of forgot to. So apologies really about that. But I'm back now. We're back now with this, and just in time for finals for AFL and NRL do begin. For AFL at least. So let's get straight into it. So the first thing is, we now know who's going to verse who in week one of finals. We now know after the events of the dramatic events of today, because I'm recording this about an hour or so after the Fremantle Port Adelaide game had just finished. And I say dramatic because oh boy, there was, all throughout the weekend, everybody was on the ladder predictor. Even I was, doing the calculations about which team would versus what team, what results teams need to have to basically qualify for finals or top four, yada yada. But finally we got it set in that. So of course. So let's run you through the first week. So in the first qualifying final, it will be at the SCG in the Sydney Derby between the Sydney Swans and the GWS Giants, and that one's going to be a great game there. The second qualifying final, that will be at the Adelaide Oval between Port Adelaide and Geelong. Of course, Port Adelaide obviously coming to this with some great form, obviously in the last 2 weeks, obviously winning the showdown, and then obviously beating Fremantle over in the West, which is going to be a tough ask there, but always is a tough ask to win in the West, but that they got that one done. And then Geelong obviously into coming to the finals with blistering form, obviously, as well. Of course, going off a spanking West Coast at the Cattery on Saturday afternoon. All thanks to a 9-goal haul from Jeremy Cameron, including 7 in the first half. A lazy seven heaven in the first half. Who does that in AFL nowadays? Only Jesse Cameron can. Then this is where it gets interesting. So the first elimination final, it would be, this one's going to be a great game. It's a chance for Brisbane to get revenge on Carlton after the heartbreak that was their opening round loss to the Blues, to the Blue Baggers, which of course Brisbane and Carlton, which coming off of Carlton's enormous let-off today, where I watched all this game, and it seemed like to me as though St Kilda controlled most of the game, and then it was some stages in the third quarter where it looked like Carlton would severely reel St Kilda in. They would just kick a goal and make it back to it was chopping and changing at some points between 14 points, kick a goal. The Blues would kick a goal to make it 14 points, and the Saints would kick a goal again to make it 20. Then it'll be 14 again. Then it'll be 20, 14, then 20 again. They just couldn't get past that 14-point barrier really in that third quarter with the Blues. And then in the last quarter, it looked like to me for most of the last quarter that St Kilda was starting to run out of legs, to be honest. Because Carlton had all the play, they had all the free kicks throughout that last quarter. And when the goal was kicked, when the goal was kicked, I thought, Carlton could easily, wrap this up. I think it was from Jesse Motlop, I believe, that kicked the goal to make it to put them in front. And then I ended up watching this game, and at some point, the margin was 5 points, and it was just entering the St Kilda's forward line. And fun fact, the score, if St Kilda kicked a goal from that entry inside 50 with about a minute to go, or a minute or close to a minute to go, and the siren sound, and it would have been, and it was same thing then. It would have been the exact same margin and exact same scoreline they lost to 2 years ago against Collingwood. So yeah, but luckily for Carlton fans, it didn't, because and they just thought, all that they needed was to basically just do stoppage after stoppage, and there you go. But that didn't happen. They kicked forward in their 50, and then somehow, some way, that man Jack Higgins snaps around his body. He's bent that from New Zealand all the way through the goals. That's how far that's bent back, and it's gone through. And I was just in complete shock. This was with 14 seconds left, and I thought with 30 seconds left. Carlton's got this. I thought with 30 seconds left. Now, all they needed to do, as I said, was do stoppage after stoppage after stoppage, and do what Collingwood do. Do not take possession of the ball. Do not let have players in front of the ball, at the front of the contest, and just don't get possession of the ball. Just let St Kilda players get possession of the ball and just keep on tackling them, and they'll win the game. So it's just like what Collingwood's done over the last 2-3 years. But unfortunately, it's got around the back. It's got going to the forward line, and then Higgins round it, kicked a goal. 14 seconds left. I was just in complete shock, and Carlton nearly could have stolen it. And during that time the goal was scored and the time the ball was bounced with 12 seconds left, I thought this moment was made for Patrick Cripps. This moment was made for someone like him to basically bolt through, grab possession of the ball, maybe run to 50, boot a big stomping goal with 5 seconds left to send the Carlton fans out to blow the roof off Marvel Stadium. That's how big it was with 40 odd thousand people there, and basically 38 or 39,000 of them would be Blue supporters. But in credit to St Kilda, they held him off extremely well in that final centre bounce. Unfortunately, it still, Carlton got the clearance, and then the big time smothers from Zach Jones literally saved the game for St Kilda, and from then on it was all over. It was their last chance really to snatch the game, and they got it. And I was there going, oh my god, because I'm gonna be honest with you guys. When I woke up this morning, when I woke up this morning, before the start of this round, I thought to myself, is there one last twist to come in this season? This season's been so many. There's been surprises, twists, turns literally around every corner this season, and I thought to myself at that time when the siren sounded, I thought that's going to be the last twist. That could be the last twist right there. Unfortunately, it didn't eventuate, because eventually Freo got beaten by Port Adelaide a bit later. So yes, that's our But it was a massive let-off for Carlton supporters. They must have held their breath for the longest breath for 2 hours to go, please Port Adelaide, please win it. And they did, and they're going to Brizzy to face the good old Lions over at the Gabba to do what no team has ever done. Probably no team has ever done that. That is win twice at the Gabba. I don't think Carlton's ever done that in their history. Probably, but I haven't fact checked my stats. But anyways. So Brisbane and Carlton at the Gabba in the first elimination final. Then the second elimination final, that one's going to be most intriguing. It'll be the Western Bulldogs versus probably the white hot team in the competition thus far at the moment in Hawthorn. That game probably will be played at the MCG, most likely. That will be played at the MCG. Unless the Bulldogs have a plan to basically bring it to Marvel and have 50,000 screaming fans at Marvel for a final, which I don't think they've hosted a final since an AFL final since probably 2011. So yeah, but more than likely it'll probably be at the MCG more than likely. And Hawthorn, they're coming into the finals with probably the biggest amount of confidence of any team in the top 8. I mean, smashing the 2 bottom place sides in Richmond and North Melbourne by I think it was by 60 odd points against Richmond, and then spanking North Melbourne by 124 points. Yeah, in the wet, by the way, at UTAS Stadium, and yeah, it was just absolutely insane, really, and they've officially become the third team to make the finals from a 0-5 start to the season. So yeah, and some might argue probably that probably Sam Mitchell should be Coach of the Year, most likely. I mean, to come from where they come from, bottom 4 last year. It looked like they were going to be again after 5 rounds. Then they really kicked into gear with the squad cohesion, and now on a regular basis they're now beating teams by 10 goals plus every week. Now, which is shocking considering that they were on the receiving end of some of these earlier in the year. So yeah, but this is the true test now. This is the true test now. They're on the big stage. These young guys, they're on the big stage now, in the finals, and probably more than likely, and I think this was mentioned on Footy Classified or somewhere. I think it was explained somewhere. I think it was on Fox Footy on Saturday, that they're probably not going to have a single player as in the Australian team, more than likely, possibly in the 40 with Massimo D'Ambrosio and that. But other than that, they're barely going to have anybody in that All Australian 22 or 23 they're in sixth position. They're in seventh position. They finished in seventh position, and if they could have been even better. Like, what if that goal with Darcy Byrne-Jones with 1 second left in the game against Port Adelaide never happened? It never happened. They would probably, and with other results as well, they would probably more than likely would be having a home final at the MCG instead of playing away at the MCG. So yeah, and then of course the Bulldogs, they've come into some good form at the right time, and I think that's going to be a very intriguing game, really, for me. So we don't know what game's going to be played when. Apparently, as I'm recording this, I think on 8:00 on Monday morning, we will get an official word as to who is going to play when, which games can be played when. I've organised my proposed week 1 fixture, really, and here it is. So for me, I think Thursday night is highly appropriately. You got Sydney and GWS to play on Thursday night. The Friday night, I think, will be Port and Geelong. I think they'll play on a Friday night. Then there'll be 2 games on the Saturday. I think the afternoon game, that will be Brisbane. That not really Brisbane. Sorry, Western Bulldogs and Hawthorn. That will play in that game on the Saturday afternoon, and then on the Saturday night, we'll conclude that will be at the Gabba between Brizzy and Carlton. So that could be, I think, for me, more than likely that's where they'll go. But you never know with it. Maybe they might have, maybe they had, usually they would. Last year they had. I think they had Collingwood Melbourne on a Thursday night, and then I think they had an elimination final on the Friday night. It was the Carlton Sydney game on the Friday night. Then they had the St Kilda GWS elimination final on Saturday afternoon, and then they had the Brisbane Port Adelaide game at the Gabba on the Saturday night. So maybe they might have one of the qualifying finals on a Saturday night. Maybe the Port Adelaide Geelong game. Maybe swap it around. Maybe have the Brisbane Carlton game played on a Friday night, and then have the Port Adelaide Geelong game be played on a Saturday night. I don't know. But I think for me, it's almost certain. I think Sydney and GWS the game will open up the 2024 final series. And almost certain, I think the Bulldogs Hawks game will be played on the Saturday afternoon. Time slot, I don't know. I say afternoon, maybe 3:20 start, which means that, and then it will allow us fans extra time to digest what happened from that game, and then moving on to the Brisbane to the game on the Saturday night. So that would be appropriate, really. But I think that's what I think my week 1 finals fixture is going to play out. Excuse me. So yeah. So moving on now to the NRL. And there's one team at the moment that is shocking the NRL world right now, with the way that they've played. And the fact that they are going to be playing finals for the first time, I think, in a long time, and that is the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs. And I just have no words. I mean, I knew heading into the season, as I did I said in my ladder prediction on the NRL season of 2024 that I said that there was going to be one team that would go from bottom three or the bottom end of the ladder up to the top. It's usually it has been the last 2 years. It happened in 2022 with North Queensland. Then it happened with the Warriors last year. This year, most likely, it's going to be the Bulldogs. I tipped personally the West Tigers because maybe Benji Marshall might try and pick them up together. Maybe next year, maybe that might happen, but I don't know about that. I don't think so really. And of course, the thing is of course. The one statistic that comes out of that springs out of me, based off of coming off of this weekend's round of matches, they've scored 22 just under 23 points a game, which is just outside the top 8 in terms of the highest scoring teams in the league. But they have conceded just over 16 points per game, which is by the way that weekend taken over the Panthers as the best defensive team in the league. So if you guys can adjust your sets, let me say that again. The best defensive team in the league, Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs. I know, right? Crazy. But anyways, and of course, the question is, for most people, is what damage can they do when they get to the final series, and how far will they go? Because if you set it off on the record, basically, with the Cowboys, they made it all the way to the prelim. The Warriors, they also made it all the way to the prelim. Currently, right now, the Bulldogs are in 5th position. All they need is a slip up from the Sharks in the last 2 weeks of the season, and they basically make top 4. More than likely, they'll probably finish in 5th. And obviously the record that they have in terms of against sides of top 8, they're 5-4. So their record against top 8 teams is okay, but not exactly great in my personal opinion. And also I've pinpointed these 4 games in particular against sides that have either been in top 4 all year or been in the finals at spots all season. Just for example here, all the way back, round 5 against the Roosters, who are currently, I think they are. Let me check out the ladder here. 20. Let me check out the ladder here. Check out the ladder. Ladder now. Just had it here. Aha, here we go. So you have the Roosters, who are currently right now, they are in 2nd position right now, thanks to, of course, the Panthers losing to the Raiders on the weekend. In round 5 against them, they won 30-26, but they were up 26-0 at halftime, which was absolutely insane there. In round 6, next week against the Melbourne Storm away, they lost 14-16, but they lost it in the last 10 minutes. They could see the try in the last 10 minutes of the game to lose in the game. Then the round 17 against the Sharks, they won that in golden point, thanks to a field goal, and then thanks to a 14 points to 0 second half, they bet the Dolphins a fortnight ago away at 30-10. So So they against those sides, especially with the Roosters, the Storm, and the Sharks, where they've been top 4 all season, pretty much. And I think for me, they could, in terms of the record against top 8 sides, it doesn't seem they can go okay in terms of finals. But look at those 4 games, in particularly where they verse, where they'll probably if they do finish in 5th, they'll more than likely they'll get a team like, for example, Manly or St George Illawarra in the first week, or maybe Brisbane if they make it. At home. So yeah, with that. And speaking of Manly, of course, their last 2 games are at home and at A-Course Stadium in Homebush, which are, of course, the Manly Seagulls and the North Queensland Cowboys in the final 2 weeks of the season. And also, one thing I also want to talk about is something that hasn't been mentioned a lot, is their recruiting. Is their recruiting has been... It's taken years. We all knew that it would take years when the Bulldogs had gotten all these recruits in and all this sort of stuff, that it would take years for them to build into where they are now. Now, look at just these 5 players as examples. Bronson Sherry, he moved from the Cronulla Sharks onto to the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs after injury-riddled seasons. Josh Addo-Carr, the Fox, he was a great player with the Melbourne Storm, and I always thought, I always said, if there was any team I would move him on to, that would be the Bulldogs, because obviously they need someone like him. Right now, at that point, they were tremendously struggling at that point. They got him, and now he's one of the more important players. And then of course the two players here, Matt Burton, Stephen Crichton, and Viomi Kikau. They all 3 of them played some part in the three-peat, in this current three-peat era that the Panthers they're in right now. Excuse me. So yeah. So and I think that this might be, for example, currently right now, I'll presume the West Tigers will be doing the same thing. West Tigers will be doing the same. The Dolphins, they've been doing this for the last 2 years. This just proves that eventually, with the right people, and with the right coach, that being Scrimaldo, who by the way is another one. Remember, he was an assistant coach with Ivan Cleary at the Penrith Panthers before being signed on as coach of Canterbury. And he has to get all the credit as well, and also the recruiting as well. That get a lot of credit for this as well. And also, as I said, for the West Tigers and the Dolphins, obviously the West Tigers will probably be doing this as well, because obviously next year they will be having they will be having I think it was Jerome Luai. I think it was Jerome. Excuse me. I think it was Jerome Luai. I think it was Jerome Luai. I'm not so sure about that. It was Jerome Luai going to the West Tigers and all that. So basically, So basically, for the West Tigers, that would take them. That would probably, with that amount of recruiting, that would take them years for those guys to do it. Of course, they've already got guys like Api Coruscant as well. there. So and then also the Dolphins, of course, they did an enormous amount of recruiting before their debut season, and then, of course, in their second season, obviously, of course, the Dolphins, of course, this year, they, let me try and find them here. Let's go Dolphins. I mean, they had, of course, the games this year. They brought in Herbie Farnworth and Thomas Feigler from the Broncos as well. And then next year, of course, they'll be bringing Junior Tupou from the West Tigers next season as well. Next season as well. So eventually, if you have the right system, you have the right coaches and the right environment, which is proven with Canterbury, that this sort of position might be there. But sustaining it is the problem, because obviously I've said this about the Cowboys in 2022 and the Warriors in 2023. The next year in 2023 for the Cowboys, they missed out on finals. 2024 for the Warriors, again, missed out on finals. So every time, it seems like a trend here in recent years. Every year where there's been a shock team that's gone from the bottom all the way to being deep in finals, and the next season they drop back down. So this is the test here for the Bulldogs. Do they test here for the Warriors? For the Bulldogs, if they miss out on final, if they miss out on finals, next year as well, so who knows? I've been there about that. Couple more things I want to talk about before I get out of here for this episode. The AFL attendance record at home, the AFL home and away season attendance record broken. And that record the previous record only lasted 12 months, and that was last year. And it's just insane. Before all the stuff with the pandemic and that, there was no season. There was no home and away season before this in the history of the VFL AFL football that had in excess of over 7 million people coming through the games, coming through turnstiles at the stadiums at the games. Before. Now in the last 2 years, it's basically it's now in the region now over 7.5 million. It's just insane. It's just insane. Footy's alive and well. It's the games are better than ever, and it's probably down to the fact that this season has just had so many ups and downs, so many twists and turns throughout this home and away season. Now we're finally in the finals region, and this could probably be, if I do my math. Let me check something out here. I think that this. I don't think there's ever been a full VFL AFL season that has had in excess of 8 million fans all season going to the games. I think overall, no, only 2023, and they had over 8.1 million people coming to the games all year in 2023, and now we've broken it and now we've officially broken it with 7.7 million. There's the you never know. Maybe there's the possibility that next year might go to the next level and might be the first. It might be the first. The first season in VFL AFL history to have it home and away. Total AFL home and away season attendance, that would be 8 million, which would be insane, to be quite honest. But yeah, and altogether, it has to be somewhere around 14, 15 million combined over the last 2 years. Which is insane. Especially it was bleak times there with the pandemic around 2020 and 2021, and then the smaller crowds in 2022, and then now we're in the big crowd. Now we've got the big crowds back in 2020 in 2023 and 2024. Probably the reason why we broke the record, probably because of the fact of round 0. I know some people say, "Oh, it's opening round." Bullshit. It's still round 0 to me. Still round 0 to me, you idiots. So anyways, so yeah, so yeah, so big. So it just proves that footy's alive and well. And possibly, maybe broke the overall attendance record over a season, which was again held last year with over 8.1 million. Maybe we might get to maybe 8.2 million, possibly. It depends on what the crowds are for the finals. Because if you look at it here, the week 1, I think we'll get a full house at the SCG. I think we'll get 40,000 there. I think Port Adelaide and Geelong might get somewhere around about 45, 50,000 there. I think we'll get a full house at the Gabba, but the NCG one, but the Dogs Hawks one, that's a bit interesting. I think that might be. They might shock me, and I might say they might have 60, 70,000 people there. But they might shock me, and there will be like 80 odd thousand people. Yeah, so yeah, and then so the last thing I want to talk about, and I don't want to end on a sour note, to be honest. I don't want to end on a sour note, but I have no choice here because I have to talk about this. I would be stupid if I don't talk about this. During the Carlton St Kilda game, a goal umpire was subbed off. Yes, I know it's a very rare thing to have an umpire subbed off. A goal umpire subbed off in place of another goal umpire because of he had a cut on the back of his head. And then they showed the replay. And it was basic, and the reason why the cut was someone in the crowd, an idiot in the crowd, threw a water bottle at the goal umpire, at the goal umpire, and yeah, I think we all know what that means. So yeah, I mean. I don't want to use flamboyant language on here, but that was just fucking uncalled for. It was just fucking uncalled for, and the reason why I'm a bit fired up about this is that I know junior footy is, but I was a goal umpire myself. My pop is a goal umpire. Was formerly a goal umpire in country footy, and he's had in the past, players and fans, abuse him, and he's a tough old bastard. And he doesn't care. He doesn't care what people say. He doesn't care. They say, "Oh, you so and so, that's so and so, you so and so, you so and so." He was like, "Don't care." He always he always says to me some great stories about when times when he was goal umpiring. But yeah, and also times I rehash it to him, and he says the stories again. But yeah, and then because of that, I've gone to goal umpiring in junior footy myself. I did it for about 5.5 years. And you should be in and I know that sometimes in junior footy you rarely don't have any, people that, you know, are behind the goals. You know, if you do a wrong decision, then they'll abuse you. You don't. You rarely don't see it. I never really had that throughout my time as a junior goal umpire. Thank God. But yeah, but goal. You deserve to be safe as a goal umpire, even as an umpire in general. You deserve to be safe. A goal umpire does not deserve to be basically be a thing that you aim a water bottle for. And that's why I'm fired up about. I'm fucking fired up about it because. And I hope damn well the AFL, Marvel Stadium, and the police track this person down. I hope they do. I hope they do, and because that person deserves the lifetime ban. They deserve it because you deserve to be safe. Like that goal umpire, he was showing a couple of times on camera during the game, and he looked like he was just acting like himself, obviously. But when it happened, he would have been like, what the hell is that? And then obviously I would presume maybe a boundary umpire probably. When he's seen it, he's probably gone, mate, you got blood on the back on the back of your head, and it looked like to me as though it looked as though from where the trajectory of the water bottle was, I think possibly that this person has gone. I would presume has gone from maybe the second or third tiers at Marvel Stadium, walked all the way down to the bottom, and. Walked all the way down to the bottom through the water bottle, and apparently from what I've heard, from news and that they just bolted out of it. And I don't know if they bolted out of the stadium or whatnot. I don't know, but even if they and apparently. Some probably have assumed that it's probably a Carlton supporter because obviously, because at the time that incident there was a very lofted, free kick count, and maybe there might be in there. But again, it's no fucking excuse to get a water bottle and I think it was a full one as well, by the way. Throw it at the goal umpire. Because of the goal umpire, he can't control what's out there on the field. He can't. The only thing he does is this, and this. That's all he does. That's all he does. He can't control the play. The only thing that he can control is control in the field is basically. It's basically the full back and full forward being the square with the 666 rule on it. That's the only thing he controls. Other than that, that's it. So yeah, and to take it out on the goal umpire because basically, he's the closest umpire towards me. That's it. That's bullshit. That is bullshit. That's disrespectful. And even though, and it's just wrong, in my opinion. And if that happened to me, I would be horrified. I would be absolutely horrified if I was in that situation because I've just basically been attacked. Basically, I just theoretically just been attacked. This guy's just been attacked, basically on a football field. Where all umpires. I hope that. As I said, hopefully this lifetime ban, hopefully this gets applied, hopefully. And hopefully this person gets tracked down, hopefully. Hopefully this person does get tracked down and because, it's, because you can't, it's just basically, theoretically, bullshit and that sort of stuff. So as I said, I don't want to end this episode on a sour note, but I had to put it out there. I had to voice my opinion on this because, as a former goal umpire myself in junior footy, and with my grandfather being a country footy goal umpire himself, I just needed to voice this out there. I just need to voice it out there because it was just disgusting, and it was just basically disrespectful to that umpire. And hopefully he is okay, and hopefully he doesn't have any doesn't suffer mentally because of this. Hopefully, if he does, then it's just gonna make matters worse for this guy who basically attacked him with a water bottle, basically. But yeah, so that's probably the end of this episode. So like this video, share this to anybody who is a Carlton fan, who's a Carlton fan, or a Western Bulldogs fan, or a Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs fan. That comment down below. Are you excited for the finals coming up for the AFL? The home and away season is done. It's dusted. And now we've got 4 more weeks, well, actually 5 weeks of the AFL season left. Of course, you've got the week because you've got the pre-finals bye. Then you got week 1, week 2, week 3, and then the big one, the grand final, obviously, as well. But yeah, so over the course of this pre-finals bye week, I will be doing season reviews for the teams that haven't made the finals, from Richmond, North Melbourne, West Coast, all the way down to, of course, Collingwood and obviously Fremantle. So that will be my plans there. And one last thing as well, somewhere down there. So we click on the big red button, which is labeled subscribe. It really does help me out quite a bit. Help out quite a bit there, as we're now entering the business end of the footy season with both AFL and NRL finals just around the corner. But until next time, guys, I'll see you all later.